Usually the best practice is to indicate that any comment that comes off that account is your own personal comments. If you are scientists publishing in say now, there is an organizational social media account that is their purpose is to make sure that they disseminate all this information. They will have all the media views, they have all this information looking on the organizational media account. So if you want to show what you have done, you link your account not private, so that whatever happens in your account are your own personal comments. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And I would like us to appreciate Good Excellency Jomo Kenyatta of Kenyatta Junior. So someone made a joke and told me they thought I was born during Kenyatta Uhuru. So we're going to appreciate them the best way of how to kunywa maziwa ya nyayo na tutawapatia makofi tatu ya kilo. Moja, mbili, tatu, So as our esteemed panel Reseach, we are quite grateful for the spent and resourceful session and was able to learn a lot. PhD students in the house have learned that there is a whole portal that is full of data. Everyone has commented about it. It was struggling with the researcher. You have been very educated, not captivated. So now we're going to the next session, and we'll be having another panel that is going to be research to impact in commercialization.
Let's invite the panelists. The first panelist is going to talk about the vision of system and support, and that is Dr. who is the director for the Institute of Public Research. If you don't know, Dr. here is that he actually invented something about omni-channel, which has a lot of, I think that's the one thing you can read this in the literature, which is a lot of literature in a lot of academic also PhDs and I see that. Several PhDs on that. He has a product which is very efficient. But then he's going to talk, the reason why he's going to talk about what's the difficulty in trying to get the clinical trials. Because the products are there, but then the cost of clinical trials is an issue. So he is the best consultant on that. And he's also done a lot of work at private research. The next one we're going to come is Antonio, and he's properly dressed. That is a very highly set up. He is also a consultant, and he does a lot of work with international organizations in the area of processing. He is a processing expert. I will be honest with you, I have known Antonio for the last almost 10 years, and I have never seen a man who understands food science like him. He can solve any problem of food science you ever have into processing a day. So if you ever have any problem that you want something out, this is a man. I remember I was working in an organization when somebody came, and then he said, why are you always working with this man? Can't you get a consultant from Europe and whatever? We did. But we don't know. And we came back. So now it's going to talk about knowledge transfer, innovations and in the marketplace. Then we have the next one is Dr. Ulida Bohan. So please forgive me, I'm going to abandon your name. And she works for one of the pharma. We talk about pharma, and then people like bashing the pharmaceutical industry. And she is the team lead in part of clinical trials in Africa. And she is going to be talking about industry-academic collaboration. She has a lot of knowledge from that area and to give them a perspective of how we work with the industry as a academia, because we always want to work with academia as the industry, but sometimes we keep complaining, but here she is. She can tell us how to do that. The next panelist is none other but Professor Basil Mwanja is going to talk about funding and investment. And the reason it is there is because Basil Mwanja straddles all the areas. He's in one of the people of the Kenya Academy of Science and African Academy of Sciences. But he's more than that. He has worked in academia as a professor. He has worked as a consultant. We have met in many places in Africa, everywhere writing proposals in the African Development Bank and everywhere as a lead person. But also he has worked as a grant officer in Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So he understands the whole game of how it works. So even we have many times complaining, but we have a resource here who can communicate to us. Last but not very least, sorry for putting you as the last one, we are going to have a person called Naipamei Kaikai. Naipamei Kaikai, please come here. This lady is inspirational. Even before she finished her degree, she had already started a national youth movement. And she has a national youth movement, and she's the CEO of that national youth movement. And our work is to ensure that we get innovation to the market through entrepreneurship, but through the youth. And she understands what the youth want. But she also, as in the Ministry of Trade and Industrialization, investment area, she actually advises the PS there. So we have a wide of people here, and I'll take it up to, please, for you. I only wanted to introduce them, and then over to you then to tell them what to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Keremi, for the extensive introduction. And you forgive me if I missed some of the names. I was trying to note them down, but I'm quite happy to have such a huge resource with us here. So I think we will allow each and every panelist to just give us an overview of what it is that they have with them for us as we move along. Then we will have, I know one of us has a presentation, so we'll also have that set up. Then we'll take questions from them. So I'll start from this end. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon all. Let me start by thanking the organizers of this forum for inviting me to come and share with you some of my experiences on this journey of research innovations, and especially looking at the impact. My name is Gishuri Mutera. I'm a reproductive health scientist, and I'm also the CEO at the Kenya Institute of Primate Research. This is a premier WHO collaborating ALAC accredited biomedical primate center that improves human health. And we do this through development of drugs, vaccines, and interventions. And the reason why we use monkeys is because monkeys are very close to us. So the way a drug or a vaccine will work in a monkey species is likely to work the same way in human. And actually most of the vaccines that are in the market today were first of all tested in monkeys. But more importantly, monkeys, unlike humans, are less argumentative. So they are very close relatives. So I'm also happy to see my old friend Ochiel here. I haven't seen him, I think, for about 15 years or so. Dr. Kirindi, thank you very much for inviting me. One of the things that I think all of us need to appreciate is that Africa contributes over 26% in terms of population. And we carry a disease burden of over 25%. And yet, our output in terms of research is less than 2%. But it's because we have failed to appreciate that there is no country that can develop never industrialize unless it invests in science, technology, and innovations. So globally, there are 4 things that drive any economy. The first one is technology, innovation, manufacturing, and entrepreneurship. And when I talk about entrepreneurship, I'm not talking about business, because a business is like where we are here now. We came and got the new Stanley. We have given them a job to do, to give us services, and we have paid them. Entrepreneurship is when you solve a problem. In the process of solving a problem, you create a business. So entrepreneurship actually goes beyond just business. And I want you to think about 3 countries which have been able to visit. Singapore got independence 2 years after us. But because they invested heavily in science, technology, and innovations, you can see the kind of ecosystem they have in terms of innovations. Now, Israel in the 1990s invested over 100 billion, equivalent of Kenya shillings, into STI. And you can see the kind of ecosystem they have. That is one of the few countries in the world that did not feel the brunt of the COVID outbreak. I visited Cuba in 2007. And actually my journey, Dr. Sidi, about wanting to convert my knowledge into products and services came from what I saw in Cuba, a very small country. The economy is smaller than Kenya, population is smaller than Kenya, actually just like the population of Nairobi. And yet, they have one of the best healthcare systems in the world. And this is because they suffered blockade from the West because of their governance system. And because of that, they were not able to access essential medical services, including ARVs. They responded to this blockade by setting up a facility which I visited called Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, which is based in Havana, and which manufactures all the medical needs to Cubans. And in fact, after that visit, we started doing some work with them on dengue fever. So why isn't research in Africa visible? And what can we do about this? And I want to just talk about 3 things. The first one is to look at the whole process of R&D, research and development, that then gives you the prototypes that then end up being products and services. Now, for this to happen, you need funding. If you look at, I think there was somebody here from the National Council for Science and Technology, either NRF or Kenya, I think I had something like that. Now, if you look at the STI Act of 2013, it stipulates that the Kenya government should put 2% of the GDP to STI, science, technology, and innovation. But if you translate that, it comes to about 350 billion, roughly. But if you ask yourself how much money is put by the Kenya government, you'll be surprised. Last financial year, they put in less than 1 billion Kenya shillings. Now, today, if you look at the law, the Kenya government is putting 0.3% of the budgetary allocations to political parties. So if you're looking for solutions, you have to go to the political arena, because that is where the money is put. And the reason why I'm talking about funding here is because for you to be able to carry serious research, to make one drug, it will cost you between about $1 billion. For one vaccine, it will be about $2 billion. So the financial outlay is huge, and the time, in terms of the amount of time that you are going to take, the time outlay is also large. So if you don't have proper funding, you'll have the ideas, but then you'll not be able to take them to the next level. And so, without either support from the government or from the private sector, it then becomes very difficult for you to be able to take your ideas into product and services. Now, human resource, I'm still on the issues of R&D. Human resource. You need the manpower. You need researchers. I was looking at the data, and I saw that in 2015, the registered number of researchers were about 13,000. The same year, 2015, Singapore had 35,000 registered research workers or researchers. Now, if we look at the rapid expansion of our education system, we actually need 30,000 partnerships. One of the biggest challenges we have in Africa is that we have a lot of duplication in terms of what you do. But if we have services that can be shared, then it becomes easier to manage, it becomes easier to document what has been done, but more importantly, the cost of doing business becomes lower. The other thing, when you're still talking about partnerships, is to think about the private sector, because the private sector has a very big role to play in terms of the issues of innovation and research. And then lastly, intellectual property. That if you look at the number of innovations that are acquiring IP, whether you're talking about patents, industrial designs, training by the institute, you'll be surprised, because we are talking about 3, 4, 5 patents every year. I have patented three products. 2 of them are in the market, and I'll just briefly mention about them. Now, so this area of R&D creates what we call valley of death, because this is where most of the products die, and you have succumbed through the valley of death. So the second point that I wanted to talk about when you're looking at commercialization and research is about the industry. That you will not be able to commercialize your product and services if you don't have an industry. Because you may be a very good researcher, then to put that product into the